From our world-class Australian campus, our passionate lecturers are able to educate trials riders from all over the world. Are you ready to learn? Welcome to the University of Trials. 2013 was the first year that the Penny Arcade Expo made its way all the way down to Australia. Thousands of gamers lined up for hours just to get a glimpse at some of the upcoming titles and some hands-on time with some of their favourites. After spending some time checking out some of the other awesome games that were on display, I made my way over to the Ultimate Games trailer to check out Trials Evolution.
Hey guys, Professor Fat Shady from the University of Trials here, and we're in a freezing cold day in Melbourne, but we've got a bunch of guys out here playing Trials Evolution, so I'm going to go in with them now, teach them a couple of things and ask them if they've got any requests for some lessons for the University of Trials. Let's go check it out.
I got a chance to meet some really interesting people in my time at PAX, and it was great to watch so many people who'd never seen Trials before get so much enjoyment out of it. But it was time to get down to business, so I found a couple of attendees and gave them the opportunity to ask me if there's any technique they want to learn.
Do you want to let the students know your name and a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Defoliator and I'm a Trials addict.
Defoliator is one of the regulars of the official Redlinks forums and one of the most recent additions to the exclusive True Fan Club.
Maybe there is a particular writing technique that we haven't quite covered off in the series yet, and you think it'd be cool if we teach some of the other students about it.
Yeah, well the one I haven't seen yet is probably the rear wheel bounce, which is a real tough one. Probably best examples on Fishy Business, where there's about halfway through there's a bounce you got to hit. And if you hit it well, it saves you a hell of a lot of time. So that'd be good to see.
Excellent. I think we're going to check that one out right now.
Thanks, Defoliator. I think this is a fantastic lesson to teach people because it allows you to smoothly transition between a number of different jumps without having to slow down and prepare yourself for the next obstacle. To understand this technique, think of the rear wheel acting as a pivot, and you're trying to balance the front and the back portions of the weight. On the front, you've got the front wheel and the bike assembly, and on the rear, you've got the weight of the rider. What you're trying to do is when you land, those two forces cancel each other out, so you can land on the rear wheel without flipping forwards or backwards. This allows you to use the momentum and the potential energy you've just created to catapult yourself and spring directly up into a bunny hop, skipping over the entire jump. But as Defoliator suggested, now let's have a look at Fishy Business and the technique and the particular obstacle he was talking about. The first thing to focus on here is the approach angle, getting your bike to approximately 45 degrees. You'll see there that the rider's weight compresses really hard over those back springs, and it's that energy that allows you to bunny hop, skip the next jump, and continue on. Now you may have just noticed that my time just went green here, and that I'm actually ahead of my personal best. So even though I was in the middle of filming this technique, I figured I'd just show you what happens, because even though I am the professor of the first Trials University, I'm still learning. And even with this technique that I was just playing around with, Defoliator just suggested, and now I've beaten my own personal best by 1.5 seconds. So just out of curiosity, let's go and have a look at where that places me in the overall leaderboard. Well, thanks Defoliator for that fantastic tip. Not only did you allow me to beat my personal best by 1.5 seconds, I've actually now beaten you by 1.1, which suggests that prior to this lesson, you were ahead of me. Thanks again, buddy.
So you've already helped me out a lot with going up inclines. Some of your tips have been really handy. But I'm still finding that once we have to get to the top of the incline and then do a bunny hop, I can't do it. So you're going to have to help me out here.
Alright, can you think of any examples of that technique needs to be used?
No.
Awesome. I'm thinking about the one, I'm probably going to use the one on the wreck. You remember the one on this, I think it's the second last checkpoint on the wreck.
Yep.
We've got a really steep slope.
Yep.
And a box at the top of the hill.
Oh yeah.
Alright,
yeah.
Let's learn that one.
Thanks, Bad Guy. I think this is a great suggestion for a technique to learn because it's another one of these tricky ones that if you don't get right, you're going to have a lot of troubles with. Before I start this lesson, I probably should explain the difference between an uphill bunny hop and the ramp hop which we covered in a previous lesson. The uphill bunny hop can be identified by a ramp leading to an upper obstacle that actually overhangs back towards the rider with a really difficult lip to overcome. The ramp hop, on the other hand, is a ramp leading to a vertical ledge, which by comparison is significantly easier. The first part of this technique is to ensure you carry the maximum amount of speed up the hill, ensuring that when you get to the top, you'll have enough momentum to carry yourself over the obstacle. The second part of the technique is the actual bunny hop, and what you'll see now is that you not only need to perform a bunny hop, but you need to make sure that when you perform the bunny hop, your front wheel also clears the front or the leading edge of the obstacle. The next, and what I'd consider to be the most important part of this technique, is to ensure that your rear wheel clears the bottom edge of the obstacle. The trick here is to ensure you flick hard to the left just at the time where your back wheel gets close. That will lift it closer to your body and skip it over the edge of the obstacle. Then it's just a matter of making sure that your rear wheel gets enough contact with the obstacle to continue yourself forward and over the jump.
Hey guys, we found another one of the students from the University of Trials. Do you want to tell us your name firstly?
I'm Jason, owner of Ultimate Games.
Excellent. Now you're actually the guy that owns this truck, so do you want to tell us a little bit about the truck?
Yeah, basically I pimped my van. So basically inside we've got 6 HD TVs with Xboxes all linked up, and outside we've got 2 big 55s all linked up.
And actually Jason was one of the guys that was mentioned in one of the earlier episodes where we called out the fact that you've had, how many faults on Inferno 3?
13, thank you very much. Yeah.
No problem, I was happy to point that out. So do you want to maybe think about a technique that you want us to cover?
One technique I think definitely will be in Inferno. There's the tyres on the balancing on the round objects. Will be certainly I'd like to improve on my 13.
Right, so going over, and I think there's another one on Way of the Ninja. There's a couple of barrels, and even actually at the start of Inferno 3,
that's
the same thing. There's a concrete tubes.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing when to launch, when to go back and forward. That technique I'd like to know, thank you.
Excellent. We'll cover that one right now.
You're going to find round obstacles and quite a number of tracks within the game, and while on their own they're not particularly difficult, you will find on some of the harder and extreme tracks that because of the way they're positioned, they can become quite challenging. So what I thought I'd do is highlight some really good examples that Jason just pointed out and show you the areas of the round object that you really should be focusing on, where to get your rear wheel and how to propel yourself off them. Let's start by talking about the safe zone, an area that I've highlighted here in green. This is the area that you really should be aiming to get your rear wheel in contact with as you're transitioning from one pipe to the other. Go too far to the back or to the front and you're not going to get enough traction to propel yourself forward. Now by ensuring that when you do your bunny hop, even if you have to reverse a little, that your rear wheel gets the maximum use of that safe zone, you'll easily clear the gap. And now if we look at the tyres at the end of Inferno 3, we can use the same principles to get over these obstacles. Visualise the safe zone on each one of the tyres, make sure your rear wheel stays primarily in contact with that portion of the tyre, and ensure that you bunny hop before you get too far onto the right hand side of each obstacle, and with a little bit of practice, you'll be completing this with no problems.
There you go guys, that's the end of PAX Australia and the end of this episode of the University of Trials. We got to meet some great Australian students and we got to show trials to a huge amount of guys. We're going to be back with a regular format next lesson, but for the moment, I'll sign off and show you some extra footage from PAX Australia. Yeah. Control? No. No! Oh! I'm over it! Oh, what the hell is this? I told you there was an extreme in this one!
So it's now about time to tell you that I once smashed the controller from playing Trials.
Yeah! I didn't see her at the end. Thank for that.
There's only 2 classes left for this semester of the University of Trials, so if there's any techniques you want me to cover, be sure to leave them in the comments below.